There is a fire in every man. It doesn't speak in polite words. It roars from beneath the surface in the tension of his jaw, the ache in his chest, the hunger behind his eyes. It is not just lust. It is not just longing. It is life, force, pure, primal energy, ancient as the stars, wild as the beast, sacred as the soul. Most men don't know what to do with this fire, so they waste it. They scatter it across meaningless pursuits, casual flings, temporary highs, porn, ego-driven conquest. They mistake pleasure for purpose, climax for connection. But the truth is, sexual energy is not meant to be spent. It is meant to be transformed. Not diluted, directed. A man obsessed is not possessed by a woman. He is possessed by himself, by the mystery she unlocks within him. A hive, Al. You woman doesn't trap a man. She activates him. If you want a man to chase you, not just with his body, but with his mind, his soul, his devotion, you must stop seducing his senses and start seducing his spirit. Because when a woman knows how to channel a man's sexual energy, she doesn't just make him desire her, she makes him descend into himself. And in that descent, he finds not just her, but his own soul. Let's explore how. Lust is not evil, but it is blind. And when left unexamined, it becomes a trickster, dressing up chaos as connection, adrenaline as affection, and obsession as love. Most men don't understand their own desire. They're driven by it, haunted by it, yet never take the time to sit with it and ask, what am I really looking for? It's not just about sex. It never was. Lust is the symptom. The wound is deeper. A man craves because something in him is incomplete. And that craving, if left in the dark, will drive him to chase illusions. He'll swipe through 100 profiles, flirt with 10 women, sleep with 3, and still lie awake at night wondering why he feels empty. Because, the truth is, his body wants a woman, but his soul is starving for meaning. And here's the trap. Many women, knowingly or unknowingly, try to control men by feeding that hunger, offering pleasure, seduction, attention, thinking that satisfying the body will anchor the man. But that's not obsession, that's addiction, and addictions fade once the high wears off. If you want a man not just to want you, but to feel pulled to you in ways he can't explain, don't stimulate his senses. Confront his shadow. You do this by being different. When he pushes, don't collapse. When he flatters, don't melt. When he desires, don't perform. Instead, stand still. Look deeper. Ask him, what are you really chasing here? You want him to feel seen, not as the confident man he shows to the world, but as the confused boy beneath, still seeking something real. And when he senses that you are not trying to please him or impress him, but to mirror him back to himself, he becomes unsettled, curious, even obsessed. Because you are not just a woman anymore. You have become the doorway to his unconscious, the feminine mystery that forces him to confront the unknown within himself. And that is the kind of woman he will never forget. Men aren't obsessed with women. They're obsessed with what the feminine evokes in them, the mystery, the softness, the depth, the chaos wrapped in beauty. At his core, a man doesn't just want touch. He wants transformation. Whether he knows it or not, he's searching for something in a woman that calls out the most hidden parts of himself. And the feminine, in its pure form, is the only force on earth that can do that. When a man meets a woman who is deeply in her feminine energy, he doesn't just feel turned on, he feels seen. Not in the way the world sees him as strong, successful, composed, but in the way his soul longs to be seen. Vulnerable, messy, real, you see. The feminine isn't just passive or soft. It's not about giggling or being submissive. It is the mirror of polarity. It reflects back to a man what he cannot find within himself. The mystery, the flow, the feeling he's been taught to suppress his entire life. When you, as a woman, stop trying to impress or control a man, and instead choose to simply be fully present in your body, your breath, your truth, you stop being just another girl. You become a force of nature, an archetype, a trigger for his transformation. Most men have never stood before a woman who is fully grounded in herself. Most men are used to women who perform, who react, who try to win. But when he meets one who doesn't try to be anything, who just is, something ancient wakes up in him. Something sacred. This is polarity in its purest form. It's not about games or tactics. It's about energy, essence. A calm, rooted woman in her feminine power doesn't chase. She attracts, not by trying, but by being the space where a man finally feels safe enough to drop the mask and meet himself. And once that happens, he doesn't just want her. He needs her, not out of weakness, but out of reverence. Because she has become more than a woman, she has become a mirror to his soul. Attention is currency, but most people treat it like pocket change. They throw it around, hoping it buys them something. Validation, control, quick desire. But the wise woman, oh no, she treats attention like gold dust, rare, powerful, alchemical. Every time a man desires you, he's giving you energy. His eyes linger, his thoughts wander, his body leans forward. That's power, not in a manipulative way, but in a spiritual sense. He is investing part of himself into you, and the question is, what do you do with that energy? Do you toss it back to him with instant replies and flirty jokes? Or do you hold it? A woman in her power receives a man's attention and does not flinch. She doesn't rush to match it, return it, or reject it. She lets it land like a sacred offering, not to her ego, to her presence. That pause, that stillness, that mysterious "I see you, but I don't need to perform for you." That's the moment obsession begins. You see, most women burn a man's desire like gasoline on an open flame, hot and over fast. But you're here to transmute. You don't take his desire and feed it back as performance. You distill it, let it rise, let it become fascination, then admiration, then reverence. You make his shallow wanting deep. By being fully present in your own body, calm, grounded, unattached, you show him something he didn't expect. A woman who doesn't need his attention to feel alive. And that flips the script, because men chase what feels powerful, not loud, not flashy, powerful. And the most powerful thing you can do is not rush to prove yourself, not seek validation, not shrink. Let him project his desire onto you, let it grow into mystery, and when he realizes that your energy doesn't demand his, but transforms it, he becomes devoted. Not because you begged, because you held the fire and didn't burn. This is feminine alchemy. You don't feed his hunger. You make him hunger differently. There is something about what we cannot fully grasp that haunts us. The Mona Lisa, it's not her smile, it's the mystery behind her smile. The same is true with men, not boys, not players, but real, emotionally aware men. The kind who have tasted beauty but crave meaning. They don't fall for what they can easily predict. They fall for what moves, what evades, what beckons them just close enough to see but not enough to capture. And that, my dear, is the power of mystery. You don't need to pretend, play dumb, or put on a mask. That's not mystery, that's manipulation. True mystery is rooted in depth. In having an inner world so rich, so full, so alive, that even when you're smiling, your silence whispers, "You don't know all of me." Most women reveal too much, too quickly. They think closeness equals constant exposure, oversharing their past, explaining every emotion, narrating every move. But when you lay your soul bare on day one, you rob a man of the journey, the adventure, the chase through the wilderness of your mind and heart. Do you want him to be obsessed with you? Then don't give him all the answers. Give him the questions. Let him wonder where your mind goes when you stare into space. Let him feel the contrast between your softness and your strength. Be warm but not always available. Be kind but not always explainable. Speak with presence, but leave silence like footprints he wants to follow. Because the human psyche is wired to solve, to seek, to unravel. And when he can't figure you out, not because you're hiding, but because you're vast, he becomes devoted, not just to getting you, but to understanding you. And here's the twist: he never fully will, because you are evolving, growing, deepening. A man doesn't stay obsessed with a woman who gives him closure. He stays obsessed with the woman who opens something infinite inside of him, not by trying to be unreachable, but by being a mystery he's never met before. Every man walks with two forces within him, Eros, the raw fire of desire, and Logos, the divine order of reason and purpose. One pulls him toward passion, the other toward meaning, and most men are out of balance. Either they are ruled by lust, living from one impulse to the next, or they suppress it all, burying their hunger under a mask of productivity, performance, and polite emptiness. But when a woman knows how to call both forces forward, his desire and his direction, she becomes more than a lover. She becomes his awakening. Let's be real. It's easy to stir a man's body. Flash a little skin, say the right words, make him feel like a king. That's common, that's everywhere. What's rare, what terrifies and attracts a man at his core, is a woman who stirs his soul, one who ignites something in him that sex alone can't satisfy. You don't do this by criticizing him or trying to change him. You do it by standing in your own truth, by being a woman who has vision, who lives with depth, who asks real questions and doesn't shrink when he responds. You meet his desire not with flattery, but with presence, with curiosity, with calm, with power. That kind of woman forces a man to examine his own duality. She makes him feel passion, yes, but not disconnected chaos. She draws that Eros up into Logos, lifting the energy from his groin to his gut, his chest, his spine. Suddenly, he doesn't just want to sleep with her. He wants to build something. He wants to become worthy of the space she holds. And not because she demands it, because her very existence calls it forth. This is the highest form of polarity, when your femininity doesn't just turn him on, it turns him toward himself. And when that happens, when a man feels both desire and direction in your presence, he doesn't run, retreat, or forget. He remembers, again and again, because you've touched the part of him no one else reached, not his body, not just his mind, but his meaning. When a man first meets you, he may see your beauty. He may feel the pull of your body, the rhythm of your voice, the warmth of your energy. But beauty fades, chemistry cools, the thrill of the chase ends. What remains sanctuary? A woman becomes unforgettable, not when she gives a man everything he wants, but when she becomes the place where he finds what he didn't know he was looking for. In this world, men are praised for being stoic, logical, hardened. But even the strongest man carries wounds from rejection, failure, shame, and silence. Most don't even know what they're carrying. They just feel tired, disconnected, hungry for something real. And then he meets you, not the girl who flatters his ego or floods him with attention, but the woman who stands like a quiet cathedral in the middle of his chaos. You don't fix him, you don't mother him, You don't fill his time, you anchor him. You reflect his greatness not through words, but through your calm. You allow space, not emptiness, but sacred stillness, where he can finally breathe without performing. You see the child and the king in him, and you honor both. This is what turns a man's craving into commitment. It's not about sex. It's not about looks. It's not even about chemistry. It's about how you make him feel about himself when he's with you. Does he feel more grounded, more purposeful, more masculine, not because you boost his ego, but because your presence reminds him who he really is? Then he won't just want you. He'll devote himself to you. Because men don't obsess over women who are merely desirable. They become obsessed with women who awaken their depth, their discipline, their destiny. When you become a sanctuary, not a storm, not a seductress, not a savior, but a still, powerful flame in the center of his storm, he'll return. Again and again, not because he's addicted, but because in your presence he meets God in himself. And that, darling, is the love that outlives lust.